So one of the other considerations that I consider important, when this in a semi-automatic rifle, I'm not talking about bolt guns right now, we're talking about autoloaders. When this cartridge is stripped off the top of the magazine by the bolt and goes into the chamber, that action I would characterize as kind of violent. Now this thing is going to come to a very abrupt halt right there on the shoulder where it head spaces. So think about how a kinetic bullet puller works. You put this in there, you smack it on the floor. That sudden halt allows the projectile to keep moving forward. Your chamber in a semi-automatic rifle is, in a manner of thinking, a kinetic bullet puller. So we want to make sure we've got enough bite on that to make sure that it stays exactly where we put it. So when you think about how crimp is increased, first of all, on the projectile with a candelure helps bond the jacket to the lead core itself, but it also allows you greater bite when you provide a crimp. Well, two things. Doing any kind of a roll or much of a taper in there does not do your accuracy any favors. A lot of people prefer, when you're trying to eke out every bit of accuracy that you can, they stay away from candelure bullets altogether because they've done the homework, the experimenting, and they figured that out. But there's another thing that you can do. When you size a casing, full length, small base, you put it up into the top of the die and it's squeezing down the outside diameter of the neck. And when you withdraw it, it comes over this expander ball right here. Now, if you measure this, if you find that you've got 1/1000th smaller than the outside diameter of the projectile going into it, that means you have 1/1000th neck tension. Now, we want to increase that neck tension. We want to provide more bite or crimp, but we don't want to use a traditional crimping die. How can we do that? Chuck this thing up into anything that's going to make it spin. You got a drill press, a drill motor, a lathe, whatever you happen to have to make this thing go around. Take some emery cloth, very, very fine paper. We're going to measure this first. So if it's 307, we can reduce it 1, 2, 3 thousandths. So if I want 4 thousandths neck tension, I want to reduce this by 3 thousandths, and I'm going to use extremely fine paper because I'm doing two things. I'm removing a very small amount of material at a time because remember, when you're using electricity and this thing is spinning fast, you can wreck it a lot faster. So you're going to use very fine paper, but at the same time, when you're removing material very slowly, you're also putting a high polish on this. So when you go to size your casings, when you withdraw it from the sizing die, you're going to notice that as it goes over the expander, it's doing so much smoother because this is now very slick and has a nice high polish on it. So you're kind of killing two birds with one stone. But do the experiment. Chamber around, carefully extract it, measure your length. You may find that some of those bullets are pulling out. Happy trails.